Now let's walk through the details of a whole of fund carried interest model. So in this model, we're not going to use $100, $200 in our assumptions anymore. Instead, we're going to use the millions. So we set total commitment 20 million, and we set the net proceeds 14 million. Set the assumed deal life 6, and then we still use the standard percent preferred return and 20% GP carried interest. On the left-hand side, it's a hypothetical cash flows. We have A, B, C, D, E, 5 deals in these funds, and I highlighted them to just make it easier to read. And these are the assumed activity for each of the investment in the fund life. Roughly based on the assumption of the ending NAV, we have IRR about 17.16%. So this number is way over 8% of the hurdle. So in this case, we know this fund is eligible to distribute carried interest. So on the right-hand side, we're going to calculate the preferred return and figure our carried interest table down below. So basically, we have all the cash flow from the original table except the last one. We don't put our NAV here. We only put the outstanding contribution here. The net contribution is the net of total contribution and the distribution in the fund. And then by the end, we're looking for the preferred return by using IRR. So we will go to our goal seek, and we set this number to be 8%. And we are going to accept the change of a G23. Then, not perfect. We got 8%. In this situation, is if the fund wants to achieve IRR 8%, we need to distribute $5,085,020 preferred return. So this little table is our carried interest calculation table. So we have the net proceeds 14 million started here, and we have the preferred return calculated from the table above, and the remaining value here 8.914 is the one we're going to be ready for our next distribution. So in this situation, we do have the GP catch up, and we will use our typical calculation here, divided by 0.8% and times 20%. And then we get our GP catch up. And after this, we will have our 20% GP split here. So in total carry here, we have 1.271255 from GP catch up, and we have 1.528745 from the split. So this actually would be perfectly 20%. So next, let's go to our carry distribution table. This is just a more detailed table to reflect this calculation here. So for example, we have $20 million here. So this is 100% to GP. And then next, we have 14 million net proceeds ready to distribute, right? We're going to distribute the preferred return, which we calculate from the formula. And then after that, we have $8.9 million cash from this distribution, and the GP is going to get the catch up. And the third distribution here, we're going to have this 80-20 split. Based on the remaining value, 20% of 7.6 million, GP would get a 1.528. And then LP will get a 6.114 here. And by the end, we summarize all these distribution here, and perfectly we got a $2.8 million. This ties to the carried interest that we calculated above, and then that is 20% of the carried interest. Is it clear? I hope this model helped you understand the whole of fund carried interest model. One thing I want to emphasize is this $40 million here is net proceeds. Because when we walk through our deal by deal model, we use the 100 as invested capital and the 200 as gross proceeds. So in this example, our gross proceeds would be $34 million. But when I set up this model, I use the net proceeds. So that's why we do have the return of capital in the first step. That is one thing I realized I may want to emphasize just in case confuse you.